This has Robin invested some money in an account that pays 6% interest per year. We want to know the rate for a decade and the rate for a month. Okay, so the main idea that I want you to know, first of all, if you have a percentage rate over a year, and you want to see what the percentage rate of growth is going to be over 10 years, you can't just multiply by 10. That's the first step. You can't do that. Okay? And you can't just divide by 12 to get your monthly, because interest is compounded, not linear. You don't just have a single amount you're adding to every month. So there's a problem with this in that respect. Okay? Now, we've already seen the shortcut, but again, I want to go back and explain why the shortcut works. Let's say Robin has, I'm going to do a weird amount here. Let's say she had $57. So first of all, we're going to use this formula, y equals a times b to the x power. If she started with $57, what variable are we replacing there? A. So we're going to substitute in a $57.
Where did the $57 come from?
I just made it up. I made it up. This is a long way, so I'm just making up saying she has $57, and the whole goal here, if I can calculate how much she would have after 10 years, then I could get my percentage difference. That makes sense? So I'm going to go, she has $57. Now she's gaining 6% per year. So what do I have to substitute in for B? 1.06. So the 1 is the 57. The 0.6 is your growth. Now it's over a decade. So what's my x going to be? 10, because since this is an annual rate, we're looking at 10 years. So now when we calculate that, when we evaluate that on a calculator, we're going to get a number that's going to be the new amount. Let's do that. So again, making sure that you do your percentage first here. You got 102 point what? 0.08. Okay. There's a couple ways you can think about this, but this is what I'm looking at. I'm thinking, okay, if the new amount is 102.08 and I want to see the growth, I can just divide the 102.08 divided by our original 57. And what do you get when you do that?
1.79.
So you get 1.79.
You just do 1.06 to the 10.
Yes.
Why do we do all that?
So I just wanted you to see where it comes from. So yeah, so that means our percentage of growth is 79%. Again, this is a long way to do it. But the whole point is now you see where I'm going to get this method from. The shortcut is you could just do 1.06 up to the 10th power.
And that would equal 1.79. Okay.
And so since it equals 1.79, that is 79% growth over a decade. So your shortcut here is you take your 1 point and then your percentage up to the power of how many units of time you have. So since this is an annual rate, that's a decade. So with that idea, how are we going to do monthly? 1.06 is my annual rate due to the 1/12 power, because there's 1/12 of a year is 1 month. All right? And you do that. Anybody calculate that yet? I think it's 1.004.
Yeah, that's about that.
Which, what percentage is that?
4%.
That is 0.4%. Oops. That's right, 0.4% monthly.
It doesn't make sense though.
Okay, so let's look at this. Let's say we have, and again, it's just doing this for practice for a test. Let's say we have a 2% monthly growth. We have a 2% monthly growth, and I want to have what the annual would be. So I want annual. So what would your annual growth be? How would you figure that out? 1.02 to the 12th power. Okay. Now this is going to throw a little monkey wrench in here because it's not quite right. But let's say we want to find our weekly. What are we going to have to assume to do weekly? Yeah, so that's the problem, is that weekly, we may have to assume.
Well, couldn't you just do it like be closer if you did it out of 31?
So you're saying we can do this a couple ways. First of all,
Just a 50. Oh.
you can assume 4 weeks in a month. I mean, maybe I'll tell you to do that on a test. Like, assume there's 4 weeks in a month. If you assume there's 4 weeks in a month, you do 1.02 up to what power? 1/4. No, that's 1/3. Because we're on a monthly rate, and there's 4 weeks in a month, so you do 1/4. Now, what Kyle's saying is that you might be able to get a little bit closer by maybe saying we're in the month of July with 31 days. We could do it a little closer by taking the daily rate and then multiplying it by 7. But there's a way we could do this even closer, and this is what somebody else said last period, is, well, what if we took the monthly rate, we made it an annual rate, and then we divided by the weekly. That one's a little closer than the 4th, because there could be if there's 30 days in a month, that means you're 2 days off for having 4 weeks, right? But if you have this way, it's close to a 4th, but it's a little bit better because you're getting the annual and then divide it by the weekly. I would accept anything that made sense here. So if I said assume 4 weeks in a month, if you said that works, I agree. If you said this works, I agree. And maybe I'll just say, make you like put, this answer and then say assuming there's 4 weeks in a month, or you could do it this way too. Okay? Questions?